Hi, I'm Renee.
Hi, I'm Rhys.
And I guess we're doing a screencast about a BrainPop movie about digital animation. So our first question is, who's the author and what's the purpose of this message?
So by looking at where the video is played, I'm assuming it's BrainPop because we're on the BrainPop website and the BrainPop logo is in the corner and it's surrounded by BrainPop's tools. If I want to learn more about who BrainPop is, there's an About button at the bottom of the page that I can look at. And then if I want an analysis of BrainPop's politics or mission, I might even go further and search for other people's opinions on BrainPop.
You tell me when you want me to stop.
Okay. I'm just going to keep talking about who this is.
How do you make a BrainPop movie? From Stacy. Oh, good question. We get this a lot. Making a BrainPop movie is a pretty complicated process.
Can we pause? So they're using a technique here. I'm jumping to number 2, but the technique is an email that may or may not be made up from someone named Stacy, which is giving us the feeling as an audience that that these guys are working for us. That they're connected with a real audience and they're there to answer our question and provide a service to us.
Yeah, that's a great point. And one of the things that is interesting is that all BrainPop movies start with a question, and that makes me think about inquiry as a triangle that involves wonder, dialogue, right, and intellectual curiosity. So in a way, they are tapping into people's inherent interest in learning.
I'll start with your emails. Once I get a question, I start researching the answer. Sometimes I get help from other writers.
Okay, can we pause?
Yeah.
So the author of this video, I would say, is this guy, Kyle, a representative of BrainPop, and then his team of writers here.
That's a good
in these
point.
cubicles.
We're kind of seeing the authors right here, aren't we? Because
Yeah,
they're pulling back the curtain on their own process.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool.
And so that's a technique at play too, is they're pulling back the curtain on something that we're interested in.
Here's another technique, right?
What's all the research?
That was slapstick, wasn't it? Or that was humor. So BrainPop videos use humor a lot as a technique to attract and hold viewer attention.
Right, and that's on a certain level, for a certain target audience, because some of us might be annoyed by the attempts at humor that we've seen before.
Aha, something about target audience and the type of humor that this is being used. Any other techniques being used that are worth talking to our audience about?
Later in the video, they show little simulations, and for definitions, instead of putting text on the screen, they pull up one of those titles there. They try and show demonstrations of concepts and terms.
I like the way the vocabulary words kind of slide in like that, and I think in some ways they're blending entertainment and information in this what is pretty didactic, stuff to do. Now, what lifestyles, values, and points of view are represented in this video? I'm going to turn down the sound, and we're going to talk about that while it plays.
So one value that I think is coming across is that they value that we're curious about how things work and how things are made, and especially related to them, their process.
Yeah.
And they think that educating through introductory videos like this can be effective.
So that is a value. So they think that this is a good starting place for engagement. I also am really interested in the character of Moby because I feel like, in a way, this idea of a machine that is human-like is something that this generation of kids is really experiencing with smart machines. And so there is a value that, smart machines are our friends, right? And that's built into the very fabric of the way these videos are presented. Yeah,
and something that crosses over with techniques and the values is just the tone of the guy's voice. He makes this all sound like, communicate. This is pretty easy, digital animation, and it's no big deal, and it's all pretty simple, and this is the way it works.
Good point. So where he might have communicated, this is only for professionals, and professionals can do this, and that's why I went to school for it. He does make it seem very accessible and friendly. I wonder if we were to do the question, how might different people interpret the message differently? What's your thought on that addressing that question?
So I think kids who aren't afraid of technology or are techie familiar with storyboards, 2D, 3D, CGI, and all these concepts, might be like, oh, I'm curious, that's cool. I was curious about how they make these videos. They use Flash. Oh, and they draw on Flash.
Yeah. And teachers might be freaked out because God help them if a kid asks the teacher, so like, what is tweening? And teachers who feel like they have to be experts might be afraid to show this video because they might not be able to answer the kid's question.
Yeah, and I would say that leads into what's left out. They don't really say how to learn Flash animation or how to get started or how long it takes to learn it, how hard it is to master.
All right, so this is Renee and Rhys, and we just made a screencast.